America, land of the free, home of the brave.
This movement that we are in is called a struggle because we are fighting for our lives.
So I wanted to ask you about the process of the film. It obviously comes from a play. It's very dialogue heavy. Can you take me a little bit along the process of what the casting was like, the rehearsals, and then the actual shooting?
Casting was it's kind of I know they had been searching for a long time. I believe I was the first member cast, and then after that, the other three brothers joined on rather quickly. But casting ended around December, and we started shooting in January. So we didn't really have a whole lot of prep time, you know.
So I sort of spent the weekend just sort of like trying to understand who Malcolm was at this time and what was going on for him specifically. And also like trying to access the vulnerability in the audition pages, because Regina, she wanted 20 pages of audition.
But in terms of like the positioning of the camera, it was somewhat like a play because we had to shoot it in terms of like for the editing, we had to shoot one side completely and shoot almost the whole section of the movie, and then turn around on another day, and we had to remember what we had done and where we had been and shoot the entire other side. So yeah, so it was a interesting shoot, but it worked.
We didn't really have time for rehearsals either. You know, every now and then we get on set, and if we had a couple minutes early, you know, 20, 30 minutes or something like that, we would rehearse then and there, or we would stay after a shoot day when everybody's supposed to go home, and we would sit there. Regina would sit there with us, and we would just go talk about the next day and rehearse. And, you know, people were really just giving of their personal time to make it work. Everybody had to show up prepared. There was no room for mistakes, you know. So you saw people working at a very high level with a very small amount of time, and it shows you what you can really accomplish.
I'm the new heavyweight champion of the world, and I don't even have a scratch on my face. Oh my goodness.
Cash.
Why am I so pretty?
Emotionally, when you're connected to the story and when you're connected to the character and when you're authentic, you're going to have the same reaction somewhat, and we have to trust the editors and trust Regina's directing as well. But I think that was one of the big things that Regina tried to instill, was that we didn't use tricks and we didn't rely on our actor a bit, you know, forcing things to happen. We just listened and tried to be present and tried to respond honestly. And then if you did that, then there would be something special there, and then you could recapture that moment if you did it again. I think that was the goal.
And speaking of her as a director, what do you think is the main difference, the main difference between a director who just directs and someone who is also an actor?
Regina, because she understands the process of, she, like, not necessarily even consciously, but she just gets it. She knows what it means to be standing there on set, and the zone that you need to be in, and like where your mind needs to be at, and the specific concentration that's required between action and cut to get the best out of performance. Like, we're talking about someone who knows that better than anyone. So we were really, 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 really fortunate, because it meant that the whole process of filming turned into such a beautiful acting exercise.
She really is a brilliant director in terms of her patience, in terms of her skill, in terms of her, like I said, her vision, but also her humility and being able to work with us and allow us to find it. But when her communication comes in to let us know where we need to be, that is what helps us figure out the rest of it.
In her case, you know, definitely she's able to speak our language. She's able to give us actionable direction, you know, so tell us things that we can actually use and implement and not have to try to interpret, and give us things in pieces that are that I can take and immediately have incorporated into my performance. But technically, I mean, she was phenomenal. I think a lot of directors that just direct and don't act don't have the technical skills that she has, and I don't think many people would expect that for a first-time director.
I'm amazed that Americans welcome to America.